Everyone believes they can survive a zombie apocalypse, and by everyone, I mean me and every other male to ever exist. I think it's playing games that's given us this false sense of security. We run on rooftops, we unload machine guns, and kill countless undead as we slowly fill our brain with the idea that we would prosper should the apocalypse hopefully happen. Let me introduce you to Project Zomboid, which is the harsh reality check of how things would actually go. As well as navigating the endless hordes of undead, you have to take care of your character's needs, such as food, thirst, health, fatigue, sleeping patterns, nutrition, depression, and of course boredom. I understand depression because the world's ending, but boredom? Sorry that splattering an entire upper middle class suburb with a yellow school bus isn't keeping you captivated, champ. Try not to fall asleep at the wheel. Once your character is dead, they are dead forever, kind of like real life. I had a run end because I was too exhausted to fight or flee as my cardiovascular health failed me. I died in a car accident, which is an anticlimactic way to go out. I had to end a run because I accidentally set up my base 50 feet from a playground. The only objective of this game is to survive as long as possible before the cruel world swallows you up. As the days pass, the world deteriorates, the food rots, the water and power get shut off, and it becomes ever harder to thrive. My goal is to make it an entire month. Every in-game day is 1 hour. This is how I tried to survive the apocalypse. If you enjoy this video, please go to a prestigious university, study medicine, and create a deadly virus that makes people eat each other, and then name the disease www.youtube.com/modestpelican, as this really helps spread the good word of my channel. I load in for the first time and a message appears saying, "This is how you died." My sister has a picture that says "Live, Laugh, Love" on her wall, but informing me of my imminent death is also quirky. I spawn in a charming north-facing one-bedroom home with plenty of natural light. I search the kitchen drawers and find brown sugar and chocolate. Although brownies would be a solid pick-me-up, this is no time to bake delicious treats, especially as zombies are collapsing on my position. I run into the suburbs and it appears the undead are absolutely everywhere. This is like the homeless problem in Los Angeles, except way more safe. Every direction I run, there is another horde waiting for me until a gunshot goes off a block over.
They're all moving north.
I think I'm just gonna try and hide from them here.
This draws all the zombies in that direction, giving my mate Zanny and I a brief moment of joy.
Zan!
I can't see you.
Yeah.
Are you in the house? Oh, Jeff!
Zan!
I consult the map to plot our next heading, also using this time to go AFK for 10 short minutes. When I arrive back at my PC, I have been bitten and am now a zombie. What could I have done better? I survived 8 hours. You have to watch the character you lovingly created come back from the dead and walk around. It's kind of hot. Round 2, and this time I decide I can't just run. I need to fight these undead abominations and teach them how real big Australian e-boys scrap at the pub. I proceed to get ripped apart and served for lunch right there on the asphalt. 56 minutes and 59 seconds in-game time survived. Not making the 1 hour mark is truly a humbling moment. Surviving an entire month is going to test me. Round 3, and this time everything will be different because I find a saucepan in the cupboard, also known as the bazooka of kitchenware. This is the first time I managed to meet with both my mates Zanny and Fitz, which was quite an accomplishment. Zanny squeezes in a workout, which is a useful way to boost endorphins and long-term strength, I guess. Unfortunately, our problems are extremely short-term, and due to his muscle fatigue, I'm left to clear out the front yard on my own. Thank God for this saucepan. This game makes you appreciate everyday household items you used to dislike. I've always hated saucepans due to their inefficiency of cooking long fettuccine pasta and also being hard to wash, but now I love saucepans. Clearing a small area gives us the ability to gather our thoughts. With the initial threat taken care of, it's time to secure a safe house where the boys and I can cuddle. I head upstairs and some woman comes at me. Her being dead isn't a deal breaker, but the baldness is. I beat her with a pipe I found, and when I say I beat her, I mean she absolutely destroys me. Bloody Agent 47's twin sister turning poor little Pelly into a chew toy. I win the fight, but the medical toll it took is severe as I bleed everywhere. I rush to the closet and rip clothing into rags to bandage my wounds as I cling on to life. This encounter would shape my whole way of thinking. I used to think bald chicks were just ugly, now I know they're violent too. The boys and I walk down the street, which at first glance looks chill and fun until you scan your eyes to the top right of my screen. This is everything wrong with me at the moment. I'm starving, anxious, in severe pain, carrying too much, overheating, I'm slowly bleeding to death, likely infected due to the scratches, and worst of all, I'm dehydrated. Navigating our way out of this situation will require one thing: a true inner sense of calm.
Oh god, why do they?
Come out of there, Fitz!
Oh.
Get out of there! Get out! Guys, retreat!
No.
Retreat, Zanny! Zanny!
Oh dear.
With a few houses on the street cleared, I begin trying to make my little guy happy. I even find him a woolen sweater. I head downstairs. Despite my best efforts, I cannot get the lads to stop working out. Toned hot summer bodies are incredible if you manage to live to the summer. Which I don't, as I die at the kitchen sink, trying to drink water as my homies do weightless squats in the sun. I come back as a zombie and Zanny proceeds to beat me to death as I contemplate a new strategy. I begin a fresh chapter, this time with more focus and discipline than ever. I find myself a baseball bat and use it to research my enemy. If I'm careful and methodical, a single zombie isn't too much trouble at all. My new tactic is to systematically pick off the isolated walkers before any given situation can escalate, ensuring to always remain undetected. I proceed to get chased out of the gated community like the neighbors found out I was 5% Mexican. The boys and I fight through the night, and as you can see, my guy is not doing well shagger. I understand there's a lot happening, but it's the fact he's always bored that gets me. We are fighting for our lives, seeking refuge in a school, aka the place where we were educated as youth, and now inside this earnest institute of learning where we can't even be sure we'll see the sunrise. Bro just wants to put down the bat and doom scroll. The school is surprisingly a lot safer than it was before the apocalypse, and so we decide to settle down for the night. Unfortunately, during the Great Conflict, Zanny took off all of his clothing. Between getting naked and working out, his decision making has been questionable. Imagine if he did both at the same time. I mean, I desperately bandage up his wounds. I'm not a doctor, but the way he's walking doesn't inspire confidence that we'll be enjoying a latte together tomorrow morning. I figure this school has to have a first aid department, so I ask Zanny to stay put and rest while I scope it out. Zanny proceeds to not stay put and rest.
Outside!
Oh my god! Run! Zanny, save yourself!
No, Zanny, get out of there!
Although it looks unbelievably heroic seeing naked Zanny Jesus bash zombies with a hammer as he yells and covers our retreat, there really is enough time for him to also escape with us.
Stop fighting, Zanny! Stop! Oh no, you just need to walk back. walk the f away from the door, Zanny.
It bit me.
Zanny is dead forever. The apocalypse truly takes no prisoners. Now just the two amigos, I'm faced with an even heavier problem. Addiction.
I'm a little concerned, man. I've been popping these pills like candy. What if I develop some kind of addiction or something?
If Fitz isn't popping an unweighted squat, he's popping an opioid, which to be fair is more relatable. If the apocalypse happens, you best believe I'm immediately smoking crack. If you time it right, you'll be dead before it even feels like you have ants crawling under your skin. The latte of the streets. Fitz and I have a quick bath together as we discuss our next tactical move. They always say that during a zombie apocalypse, it's crucial to have a well thought out plan and be thoroughly washed, preferably with scented soap so your fragrance lingers even after you leave the room. We search the town for supplies and I find some athletic gear. This should let me stay free moving and agile while simultaneously offering almost no bite protection. We fight zombies for ages, but it becomes clear that this god-forsaken urban prison is completely overrun. We need a miracle. We need divine intervention. We need a Honda Civic.
Oh!
Oh my god.
No shot.
Oh my god, yes!
Fitz pulls in at the petrol station, but the car noise is drawing in a lot of unwanted guests. I cover him for as long as I can, but then we fearlessly drive away. I have a gander at the map and think to myself about the safest place for us to settle. Then it hits me. We will settle in the metropolitan jungle of Louisville City, pre-infection population, 8.1 billion people. Now Louisville is a long journey and Fitz kindly offered to drive. Given that I'm a passenger, I figure I'll read Cooking Volume 1 cover to cover. I'm not sure what to expect at Louisville, but it can't hurt to know my way around an omelette. As we drive through the more remote areas, the alarming thing is there is still a dense population of zombies. Nowhere is safe. The commute is a long but rich character-building journey, and reaching the outskirts of Louisville brings us a level of happiness I imagine women feel when they hold their newborn baby for the first time. The timing is near perfect as we are almost out of petrol, we are hungry and thirsty, but thanks to Cooking Volume 1, I now know that separating egg whites isn't a racial thing. We pull up at Mary Globe Communications and decide this will be our new home. A big office building with floor-to-ceiling glass windows. The good thing about glass is it's transparent and it breaks easily. For a normal survivor, this would be a horrible base, but I'm not being hunted anymore. I am now hunting. I'm not trapped in Louisville with these zombies, they're trapped in Louisville with me. It appears all that time spent in the Honda Civic reading recipes somehow significantly inflated my combat confidence. One day, 18 hours survived. To reach 1 month, I was going to have to bring out the big man. Meet Thickman, a retired assassin who's now trapped in the apocalypse. Thickman's creation was going to be my trigger to actually lock in. I loot the house I spawn in for food, grab a frying pan, and concentrate on every fight, ensuring not to slip up. One mistake, one bite, and Thickman would be no more. My plan is to clear out a small area so that I can gather my thoughts and properly prepare a loadout. I learned the key tactic seems to be a hit and run method. I also have a far worse start than even my first attempts. It feels like you're in control, smacking them with a frying pan, and suddenly you've got a giant horde after you. Don't get me wrong, I could chin check every single one of them, but I would hate for Thickman to get bored, so I steal a school bus and retreat by choice. These yellow buses are so nostalgic for me. I lived in the States for a year as a kid, and one of these would pick me up every morning. It was a fun year. San Diego is sick, except this one lad who kept calling me Boomerang Boy, which in hindsight is actually pretty tame. Now I'm not a tough guy, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not going to pretend I fight everyone and have a gang, even though I'm sure many, if not most of you, believe that to be the case. Back then though, on foreign turf, a younger child pelican apparently stood on business. I punched that kid right there on the yellow school bus for calling me Boomerang Boy. I've probably punched 2 people in my life, and one of them was that kid. He earned my respect in the end though, because he proceeded to just keep calling me Boomerang Boy, so we made our peace and it was an enjoyable semester. We even did an art project together, which to be honest, I carried pretty hard. Blind people have no artistic flair. I enter a perpetual cycle where I drive away from zombies, but wherever I drive, there are even more zombies. This old giant bus isn't exactly quiet either. I step out of my bus with a frying pan and a dream. Quite literally, that's all I had. I attempt to kill this relatively large group of zombies with a frying pan. Cooking Volume 1 taught me that frying pans are used for shrimp and snow pea stir fry. God, I wish I'd used that Louisville road trip time to read a book about how to kill zombies. I retreat to the bus and proceed to use it as a battering ram. I don't know how durable buses are, but this plan works unbelievably well for solving the immediate crisis. It turns out a 36,000 pound bus is a better weapon than a cooking utensil. This was the break Thickman needed, because theoretically if I just continue to do this long enough, everything in the vicinity will be dead. It takes some time, but eventually the plan works well enough and I get to fill up my school bus with petrol. This moment would have hit a whole lot harder if the bus didn't already have a pretty full tank. But first though, I decide to check inside the back. Imagine my surprise when there are 2 zombies back here. Imagine my further surprise when I remember one of the key reasons I decided to utilize the bus as a battering ram was because my frying pan broke. Hand-to-hand combat in a confined space and at a numbers disadvantage. Typically not what you're after, especially when the 2 aggressors are undead monsters who carry a fatal virus. I die in the back of the old American school bus like some sort of sick, unwarranted karma for punching that blind kid. Thickman walked so Thickman 2 could run. I mean it, I run straight to that bus. The bus is the key to my survival. After what can only be described as one of the most invigorating night jogs I've had this quarter, I arrive back at the petrol station. Sometimes when I'm putting these videos together, I watch younger me make decisions. I spent probably 30 real minutes running back to the petrol station, and upon arrival, the only weapon I still have is just a frying pan. I'm in the exact same bad situation I was in earlier, but instead of driving here, I ran the entire way, so now poor Thickman 2 can barely swing the pan, he's so fatigued. I retreat to the bus and prepare to kill the 2 inside, except there's 3 inside now because the original Thickman is now a zombie too. What is happening here? I proceed to valiantly die again, although I take down the original trio. Basically, there is now 1 zombie in the school bus. This is an odd situation. Thickman 3 has a short, forgettable life. If I stopped going AFK and using frying pans in combat, I probably would have discovered a cure to the virus by now. I need a new strategy. I decide to name and create a character modelled off my first ever high school girlfriend, Chloe. I decide Chloe will attempt one of the hardest challenges in the game, the CDDA challenge. You begin your apocalypse adventure by starting naked, drunk, sick, badly injured, and the house is on fire. This challenge is mostly attempted by those who have hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the game. Chloe proceeds to burn alive. Who's got bad handwriting now, Chloe? Strength. courage, moisturized skin, historical fiction novels, water, abstinence, whiskey, hydrate roleplay. It was time for a new strategy. I need to protect someone I love. I create a character after my lovely current girlfriend Anna. We spawn in a house with no zombies nearby, which is just a little slice of heaven. I find a hammer in the cupboard and decide to see what the neighbours are up to. God, that ass looks fat and juicy, I want to munch that yap. I can say that, guys, it's my girlfriend, grow up. I begin clearing the area, and then to my delight, my gaze catches an impressive double-storey residence set on a generous parcel of land. I decide this will be where I survive the month. Anna gets busy clearing out the vicinity. We started dating really young and actually just recently hit our 10-year anniversary, which is crazy. I've been dating Anna longer than I've been making YouTube videos. She kept saying we should take a trip to celebrate or go to Europe together, and so I took the hint and thought what better way to celebrate a decade of love than naming a Project Zomboid character after her. I spoil that woman. The house is nice. It even has a generator in the shed, which should be useful once the power cuts off. The high fences offer decent protection from 3 sides, but the wandering undead still present an ever-bearing threat. One lapse of concentration and a single zombie bite will end everything. As I become more familiar with my surroundings, I realise I have set up in a gated community. The high strong walls should be effective at keeping the hordes of South Americans out, and hopefully also the zombies. I cull dozens of the undead and begin somewhat cleansing an area. It works well, as this is the safest I've felt the entire time I've been here. I watch some TV and it seems to be a show about kids playing on a slide, and Anna is absolutely loving it. That's weird, Anna, watching kids play on a slide. 10 years in and this is how I find out she's a creep. My next couple of days are spent murdering countless zombies, scavenging supplies from my neighbours, and engaging in a healthier sleeping pattern than I have in real life. Anna can't just lie around hoping Kids on Slides gets a sequel, as I'm burning through my food supplies at an alarming rate. I invent a plan that would go on to be one of the key solutions to my survival. This is a map of my gated community. This is my house where Anna watches kids play on slides. It's safe from hostiles. These are tall fences that the zombies can't climb, providing a decent pre-existing barrier, and I've cleared the entire block. This leaves me with a protected road I like to call Bonnie Blue's uterus due to the death toll. This tactic allows me to venture into the town, but as soon as the situation escalates, I can always retreat into the safety of Bonnie Blue's uterus, knowing there won't be any surprises as I fall back. Even when muscle fatigue kicks in and you have to hit a zombie 10 or 15 times, at least the horde never grows, as I don't accidentally back into new groups and wind up in an impossible scenario. At the end of the laneway, I see a grocery store that could have days worth of food inside. As I'm clearing the last 3 zombies, Anna gets bitten. This is truly one of the saddest gaming moments in history. I head back to the crib to try and treat Anna to one last episode of Kids on Slides, but it's not on. It's just the news talking about how important it is not to get bitten. Wow, thanks news. God, I hope the Australian government is remembering to tell our soldiers not to get shot. I take every single pill and bit of medication I have in the bathroom cupboard, but my efforts are futile. At least Anna died doing what she loved, being in the kitchen. 4 days and 11 hours survived, but a new tactic is needed as I mourn my other half. I realise I need to protect the thing I love most in this world, my cat Fat Tony. Look at his little hat. I picked the same town spawn and happened to be right by Anna's old house, which feels like Christmas morning. Anna's hard work wouldn't be for nothing. I place her corpse out by the swing set and then realise she never came back from the dead as a zombie. Was she even actually infected, or did she just overdose on pharmaceutical medication in my desperate Hail Mary attempt to cure her? Jesus Christ. Either way, my eyelids are dry, my conscience is clear, and it's time for a new dawn. The Fat Tony era. I read some books, I eat the last of the food Anna gathered, and I learn that this place is not safe. The fences are good, but not perfect. I'm constantly having to clear out this general area, and it's only a matter of time before Tony gets overwhelmed. The food and supplies in this gated community are also extremely low because Anna selfishly ate most of it. Moving back in here was a real double-edged sword. Earlier in my playthrough, I attempted to become the hunter. I attempt again, but this time better. I was never going to survive a month hiding in a few measly houses, so I had to become a killing machine and clear out the town so that Fat Tony could prosper. I would argue 7 or even 8 times out of 10, wiping out an entire race is unnecessary, but not today. I systematically hit the close by houses, and the moment things get hectic, I strategically fall back to the security and protection of Bonnie Blue's Minge. I learn even small fences are great for tripping the undead and securing easy kills, which conserve stamina. The process of carefully and methodically cleansing this town has truly begun. 4 days survived, and then the entire power grid turns off, as well as the water pipe mains. Just perfect. No more toast party bubble baths to take the edge off the world ending. Lucky I have a generator, and luckier it wasn't Anna that had to deal with the power being turned off. The only thing that seemed to bring her any joy was watching kids on slides. Speaking of the love of my life, I built her a small graveyard, even with a cute little cross. I didn't have a shovel for a grave, so she'll just lie there like an open casket family funeral, except the casket will never close, there is no casket, and maggots will eat her face as she rots away in the harsh sun. Similar energy to a Viking funeral. I continue thriving while not staying too far from home. Fat Tony reaches 2 milestones. 100 confirmed kills and 1 week survived. A new record on both fronts. Every day, every hour, every minute needs to be productive. My next few days consist of dismantling every piece of furniture in the suburb, sleeping, eating, watching Anna's corpse disintegrate, and of course doing crossword puzzles to counter the real ever-persistent enemy, boredom. With the long carpentry grind done, I can now build crates to organise the merchandise. You know you're flourishing in these kind of games when you spend more time sorting your loot than actually playing the game. The real reason I spend a week grinding carpentry is to build rain collectors. I now have a water source, which is the most important thing in the world. Food, however, is becoming a serious concern as the power going off means all fresh food in fridges and freezers is rotting. The game spawns you in a random location when you first log in. I wish they'd spawned me in Africa where they're acclimatized to dealing with this, it would just be another Wednesday. A heavy storm rolls in and I decide to use the loud rain and thick fog to explore. This plan was incredibly impulsive. I think spending hours dismantling furniture had the same effect as the Honda Civic road trip. You kind of forget that you're a mere mortal. I say that, but I'm not even being chased. Except no, I'm kidding, I'm being chased in a scary way. This is the most horrifying shit I've seen in my life. I overestimated how much a storm would throw them off my scent. I thought water was my friend, but in this rare instance, it has betrayed me. Briefly. I keep running, not sure where my destination is, and then like an oasis, I stumble upon a small hobby farm. The water had a bigger plan for me. Food and seeds, which means a chance at living off the land and being self-sustainable. 11 in-game days survived, but this spontaneous mission might have been a step too far. I make a stand at the farm. Fat Tony is exhausted, but he gives everything. This was the toughest battle I had ever attempted. Making a stand at this farm would either kill Tony or let him start a cute little vegetable patch back at the crib, there's no in between. These permadeath games make moments such as this 1,000,000 times more gripping than if you just respawned. I have invested 11 hours so far into Fat Tony, and so I lock the fuck in and defeat the horde. Exhausted but proud, I harvest a potato plant, and sure enough in my inventory I find seeds. There's cabbages and carrots too. This is the apocalypse equivalent of finding a girl who's hot, nice, and loves RuneScape. I head back home via the Bonnie Interstate and begin setting up my farm right on top of Anna's grave for extra fertilization. Having the farm project is perfect, as when the weather conditions are bad, I can still be productive from home, all the while looking forward to eating some homegrown baby carrots. Day 13, and I'm so hungry for carpentry experience. Sorry. I deconstruct a church piano. I can't imagine God will be a big fan of that, and he wasn't. Back at the crib while catching a well-deserved 10 hours, I start dying for reasons I can't figure out. Tony's health bar is in a free fall, but there are no visible injuries to treat. No indications, just a rapid loss of health. God is spiting me for taking away educational Christian music. Ironically, this YouTube channel has and always will be at its core an educational Christian music channel, so this karma actually seems fair. I head outside so Tony can die next to Anna, but all of a sudden his vitals stabilize. I realize it's only inside the house where I seem to be dying. God has cursed this home, or the petrol-fueled generator is filling the confined space with carbon monoxide. If I had won that farm fight only to suffocate myself due to placing a petrol generator inside my home, I may have actually cried. Day 16, and long gone are the frying pan golden years. I managed to find a machete, which is surprisingly far more effective than a saucepan. Not only are my weapons better, but Tony is stronger, fitter, and sharper than ever. Before long, I've killed over 300 undead, which gives me access to warehouses filled with the supplies I need. At night, I eat and rest, so that in the day I'm recharged for more killing and scavenging. The streets become filled with corpses. Ghosts sit around campfires and tell scary Fat Tony stories. When Fat Tony does a push-up, he doesn't move up, the world moves down. Jesus can walk on water, but Fat Tony can swim on land. Fat Tony's tears cure cancer. Too bad he's never cried. Fat Tony visited the Virgin Islands. Now they're just called the Islands. 21 days survived, 703 zombies killed. It's fair to say Tony has become a lethal weapon. I'm not killing for sport though. The vegetable garden is swell, but fun fact, vegetables take a really long time to grow, even with Anna's dead body fertilizing them, and our current food rations are forever diminishing. The scary thing is, areas I thought I'd cleared are repopulating as more undead wander in from the city and surrounding countryside. Nowhere is truly safe despite my best culling efforts. I realise I need a vehicle to travel around town. I check to see if the Ford Laser has keys in it. If it does, I'll be getting chased by zombies and bad bitches. Unfortunately it doesn't, and I'm forced to take the timeless classic Dodge Charger like an idiot. I fill up at the petrol station, and then as I'm scouting future locations to hit, I have this moment where I realise there are just unlimited zombies. I have been non-stop eat, kill, sleep, repeat, and I haven't made a dent in this town's infestation. I begin to drive away. I'm not sure why I started driving, but with a full tank, I feel invincible. I plan to turn back around and tend to my vegetable garden soon. I would hate for my baby tomatoes to get mildew and me not be there to nurture them. Even still, I keep that accelerator down and never turn back around. 28 days or 28 real hours survived was an odd time to choose a second road trip to Louisville, but at least it makes for a hell of an exciting climax as we approach the 1 month mark. After a long drive, I head back to where our fallen comrade Fitz and I died. Ameriglobe Communications, arguably the best base location in the world. Last time I was here, I was a mere boy, innocent and well-read, mostly in Cooking Volume 1. The place is absolutely packed, but Fat Tony takes no prisoners. Except this prisoner who's trapped in the elevator shaft with no way to access him. Okay, Fat Tony takes one prisoner. I spill a lot of blood, but at last the building is clear. I head up to the roof and am immediately surprised and gangbanged by a group of zombies in the stairwell. Fat Tony is bitten, and that's how quickly it can all be taken away. Pretend Adele's song Someone Like You just started playing. It won't play though, because if I so much as sneeze in the wrong octave, this video will get copyright striked. God, I miss the days where you could just steal online media and punch kids in the face with no repercussions. According to my YouTube analytics, 6% of you are still under 18 years of age, so I highly suggest punching as many kids as you can because legally you just won't face consequences. I head up to the roof as the rain falls heavily. I take off my clothes in honor of Zanny, and I read Cooking Volume 1 in honor of Fitz. This was a journey I'll remember for a lifetime. Fat Tony proceeds to die right there on the Ameriglobe Communications rooftop. 1 month and 4 hours survived, 1,505 zombies killed. If you enjoyed that video, hit like. I wanted to give a special shout out to one of my best mates, Mario. He streamed every day for almost 6 years, which is crazy impressive, and he has a similar sense of humour to us and genuinely is a top bloke. Take care, shaggers. I love you.